Hello and welcome to my guide on the new Beastmaster Hounds. Well, they're not really technically new, and that's because we have been able to kill them all the way back in 2015 ever since Raids 1 was released. But this is the first time we're actually able to kill them outside for Slayer experience. As for the requirements, you will need 43 Slayer, and as a little optional bonus, I do suggest players to complete the one piercing note quest, which is free to play. It takes about 15 minutes, and this is so that you're able to unlock the devotion ability. This devotion ability is somewhat really suggested because when you do start doing low level Slayer, even though these are level 68, they have some chunky health at 7,050. While you are killing them, you can expect to get 352 combat experience and 118 Slayer experience. The best way to get to this Slayer creature, you want to go to your community tab, grouping system, versus dungeons and raids. You want to go to Liberation Mascot, view selected, join queue, and we will be readying up. If there's someone else in your group, you might need to just leave and change this little bar right here for the combat level requirement. And you want to click ready up. You should get a little teleport that says complete group. We will be doing that, and to teleport all group members and leave your group. Another way to get there is actually by teleporting to Menopause, which does require the Jack of Space quest, and this is so that you're able to run north outside the city, and you want to go all the way west to the Mazcab portal, and you simply want to run north. For players that do not have 2,000 Gobi reputation just yet, I will be making a Nemi Forest guide shortly, but if not, you'll just want to go west, and we'll be running pretty much all the way southwest. Ignore the Arids and these little beast hounds, although yes, they are technically it, but the problem is there's only a handful, and for that we'll be actually going a little bit more west, and we'll be running through the Nemi Forest. Continue, and you should see a black screen. Don't worry, that means you did do it correctly. So keep running in. Right here, the only goal you want to do is pretty much go north, and then this pretty much changes every single time someone does enter if no one else is in the instance. So I mean, it's pretty easy for your very first time. You just want to make sure and run to the exit. Usually people do like Nemi Forest for the amazing reputation, since this is, I believe it's about 90 reputation a day, but this little method is just a quick way to bypass that 2,000 Gobi reputation. Once you are at the exit, we will now be going a little bit north, and voila, there's even more puppies for us to slaughter. Now, if players do have 2,000 Gobi reputation, you'll instead want to run southeast, and we'll be speaking to a little Gobi. I believe it's Ranger John. So let's go speak to Johnny Boy. Talk to him. Now for this one, you will hit option 3. Once that is done, all you want to do is run south. And there is a bank if you want. And then just run south a little bit, and then boom, voila, we are now at the puppies. Once you're ready, pray melee, and we'll be attacking the puppies one at a time. Or if you want, you could obviously use a cannon, but since this does require 43 Slayer, I will assume players will not be wasting cannonballs too much, since I mean, you really won't be getting this as a Slayer task, and you won't be killing these for too long. However, when you are killing them, I do suggest players to run clockwise or counterclockwise. This is because they have a very slow respawn time of 1 minute and 4 seconds. Now yes, you could add this to your personal Slayer dungeon, which will change the respawn time to, I believe, either 7 seconds or 15, but you don't really want to be farming this for too long, since again, it's really a low level Slayer monster. Now as for the rates per hour, you can expect to get about 450 kills, and this is with using a tier 75 Vanquish staff that does require 150 quest points. So of course, if you are using better gear and a weapon, your rates could be improved. And you'll notice in background that I went through a whole circle and I just barely had enough time. So again, if you're using higher tier gear, you'll have to wait like probably 20-30 seconds, in which case for you, your method would have to be spam hopping worlds once you have done that. But for a tier 75 weapon, you can expect to get about 158,400 combat experience an hour. Now, if you were to do this on a Slayer task, you will need to do this several times, and the best way would have to be either the Fairy Queen, which does require the Lost City quest completed, and or Simona, who is the Desert Master, and you can expect to get about 53,100 Slayer experience. Again, this is with using a tier 75 weapon. Now, these monsters actually have a very unique drop table, and that is because they are an excellent source of getting Raynar seeds. Previously, the only best realistic way was the Rising Ghost north of Fort Foundry, which I believe required 90 or 95 Slayer to do. And then by then, I mean, you're already having the problem of the Raynar seeds. So the fact that you can start now getting them at 43 Slayer is amazing. And you will notice that you will be getting a good amount of Adamant and Luminite stone sprites. This is yet again another great source, and this is mainly because honestly killing Nex within Goblin Dungeon 1 is the best way to get Luminite stone sprites. But I mean, that's Nex. You have to bank every single kill, you gotta teleport out, and it actually does have some very steep requirements. Or you could have killed the bound skeletons, but I do like these since they have some other unique drops, and that will also be the medium clue scrolls, and you will expect to be getting the War Priest Tuska set, which is a hybrid. This is actually a very other broken thing that I like, and this is because previously at the Adamantite Islands, the minigame, you had to do this for about 18 hours to get the full set. Oh, there is our Tuska Wrath ability codex. Let's see. Ooh, it's worth 20 mil, boys. Well, it's probably not 20 mil, but I would pretend just for the sake of this. Make your way back to the teleportation of Madcap, and you will want to try this Armor Smith. You will be getting Teci, however, at an extremely slow rate, but you do have access to the abilities, and if you have very bad RNG, you could buy this with 15k Teci. However, you get horrible Teci per hour. I'm talking about probably 17 Teci an hour, and you need 15,000. So that is obviously more than an hour worth. But we have access to the other shop, in which case I do have my full Tuska set, but you're actually able to buy another piece and dismantle them if you want. And then of course you do have some other rewards, although I would say that Tuska is the best route, and this is because it is hybrid, and it's the best and easiest way to level up your account as you progress, since it acts as whatever defense you are, and that's like 25, 50, and 75. Afterwards, I mean, you will be using this for a very long time. Once you have gotten and read the Tuska's Wrath Codex, it will unlock it under the Constitution, which does require 50 Constitution to actually use, and it has a cooldown of 15 seconds. However, if you do this on any monster that is a Slayer task, you will hit 12,000 damage. If you're in a Sunshine, a Berserk rotation, it can hit up to 15,000. But it has a little drawback, and that is while you're on a Slayer task and you do use this ability, it will have a 2-minute cooldown. Now, outside of your Slayer task, this will have 15 seconds. It's very powerful as a basic ability, since it does between 75 and 85% of your damage. And this is tradable on the Grand Exchange. Although the prices right now, it is nearly about 1 mil, so it's not really too much money, but this is actually very good for competitive group Ironman mode or an Iron account, simply because you have a quicker source to actually get them. With that comes the end of the guide. If you did like this type of content, I will be doing a Nemi Forest guide coming up shortly, so do make sure to subscribe. With that, Thank you all so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.